I think that's the main differentiator between people who succeed and improve and people who are stagnant and repeat the same year over and over again. And that's kind of why I want to do this on January 1st, because it is important that we don't repeat last year's mistakes again. All right, so here we are, 2026, January 1st, 2026. What's up, guys? I just finished my morning run and I grabbed my favorite coffee at my favorite spot here in Coconut Grove, Florida. And I just wanted to come out here and kind of go over my goals for 2026 so that I can look back a year from now and see how much progress I actually made. And I actually brought my worksheet number 1 from the Time to Grow workbook, because it has a lot of the questions that I've been asking myself for the last few months leading up to 2026. And now that we're here, I kind of want to just review them one more time. And I thought it would be a great exercise for you guys to kind of see what's inside the workbook. And hopefully if you have it, you can kind of follow along. Favorite coffee at Chugs. This used to be my ritual. Morning run, grab some coffee, and just have the most incredible day ever. And I feel like I'm back, baby. January 1st, 2026. So obviously today is a very important day because it's the first day of the year. And if you are trying to leave bad habits behind or start new habits, this is a great time to do it. Honestly, it's the best day because you're starting at 001 out of 365. It's a lot easier to keep track of how many consecutive days you can do certain things for. It's easy to kind of keep track on a calendar. And yeah, I like starting on day 1. For me, some of the smaller habits that I'm taking on this year is definitely an earlier wake up time. I don't get up late, but I would like to get up even earlier, and that means going to bed earlier the night before. For me, it's very difficult because I'm a creative, and I get creative like after 9 or 10 p.m. and I get in the groove like around 11, 12, midnight. So it's easy for me to stay up to 2, 3, 4 in the morning when I'm working on a project, and it's not conducive to business. So that's one of my biggest goals. So today on January 1st, I did wake up earlier. Of course, did go to sleep a little bit later because I stayed up till midnight. And then by the time I got into bed, it was like 1:30. But I had my second objective for 2026, which I wanted to start on January 1st, which is my running. I want to get back to running. I still have a small injury in my lower back, which causes a lot of sciatica pain. But I was able to kind of rehab in 2025, and I feel good now. And the pain's still there, but I just finished my run right now. I did a couple 6-minute intervals, a couple 2-minute intervals, run, walk, and I feel great. I got my coffee. No better way to start the new year than with a run, a coffee, and then now off to a great lunch to fuel my body. All right, so on worksheet number 1, which is the self-assessment part of the Time to Grow program and the workbook, one of the first questions is, do you find yourself constantly blaming others for your current health, financial situation, and or social status? Why don't you blame yourself? And that's the first question of this workbook because it's at the core of what self-improvement really is. There's people who blame others, and there are people who take accountability for everything that happens to them. I think that's the main differentiator between people who succeed and improve and people who are stagnant and repeat the same year over and over again. And that's kind of why I want to do this on January 1st, because it is important that we don't repeat last year's mistakes again. And the only way to do it is through a self-assessment. So worksheet number 1 of chapter number 1, days 1 through 10 of the program is all about self-assessment. So this year, I really did take accountability for my separation. I really understood that it was all my fault. No matter what happened, I allowed things to happen. I let myself go. I took accountability for my financial situation last year, 2024, and I addressed it. You know, there was no one for me to blame but myself. I can't blame the government. I can't blame other people. I am a single father. I have no one to blame. It's just me, myself, and I. So I have not been blaming others, but of course, when it comes to my health, for a period of time in 2024, I did kind of blame my doctor a little bit for this whole sciatica issue because I didn't really think he was doing enough. And then, of course, later on, I realized that it was on me. I went to physical therapy for 2 6-week periods, which is 24 total sessions, but it wasn't enough. I should have kept going. It is expensive, it was out of pocket, and it is time consuming. I have things to do, a life to live. So, but it's on me. It's my fault. I should have taken the necessary steps to put in more sessions in order to get better and better. So I now do take accountability for that. And in 2026, that's going to be one of my priorities is to get healthy so that I can be agile and I can run again, especially with my son. That's actually very important to me. Then we have the next question. Have you visualized yourself getting back on track and on path to fulfilling your full potential, or do you feel stuck with no way out? So, of course, these are the questions that I answered when I was in a bad situation, when I was stuck in a rut 3 or 4 years ago after my separation. And this question is actually very important because if you do feel stuck and you think there's no way out, it's going to be a lot harder to catch any kind of momentum. And that's where a jump start is very important. Just like a car that runs on a battery, it needs a jump start from another car. So do you. You need help from someone or something that can kind of guide you and push you in the right direction. That's actually why I made this workbook, so that anybody that needs that jump start, for the small price, you can either do it yourself, DIY, with the workbook, and just kind of get that momentum going, especially at the beginning of the year. Or you can join the Time to Grow coaching program, where I assist you in that process. But yeah, when you feel like you're stuck and there's no way out, it's really hard to do it by yourself. But you do need to get back on track, and the best way to do it is really through some sort of assistance, external assistance. Number 3, can you control what others do to you or how they treat you? If so, how? So, of course, the answer to that is no. Cannot control what others do to you, but what you can control is how you react to what people do to you. Okay, someone wrongs you, take accountability. You allowed that to happen. It's on you. You have to blame inward. You have to blame yourself. You need to take accountability because otherwise you will never improve enough to prevent it from happening again. Next, what is your biggest flaw according to others? Your spouse, your ex-spouse, family, friends. And then, of course, according to you, what is your biggest flaw? So, I think my biggest flaw, I am quite stubborn and I'm stuck in my ways. So I do need to learn to kind of let go and maybe trust that other people know more than I do. And by doing so, I would be able to advance my self-improvement process, my journey a lot faster. In the past I have let go a bit. I have had coaching when it comes to business, when it comes to personal development, and it did help. But I never really let go and trust that someone else might have the answers. So that's something that I'm working on this year. What is my biggest flaw according to others? Right now, a lot of people hate the fact that I'm in this self-improvement journey. They absolutely detest it. They hate that I bring out the flaws in them. When I say, listen, I'm going out for a run, I think we should all do it as a family. Let's all go. I'll walk with you guys a mile, 2 miles, whatever it takes. I don't have to run. I'd rather walk as a group than run by myself. And they just, oh my God, they have an excuse. And they really don't like when I push the buttons. But I'm going to keep doing what I do. I'm going to keep encouraging them. I think eventually someone will break and they'll realize, the benefits of self-improvement. So I'm not going to let my family down by letting them be lazy around me. It's just not going to happen. Do you often seek approval or acknowledgement from others? How often do you receive it? We all subconsciously seek approval from others. That's why we post online. That's why we dress nice. That's why we try to look nice. It's just the way it is. It's human nature. But if you can tone that down and look within, I think you have a much better and easier life because The only person you have to prove anything to is yourself. And once you prove that to yourself, be it financially, be it physically, mentally, through success or whatever it may be, fulfillment. Once you do that and you seek your own approval, and everyone else will acknowledge that. So don't worry about what others think, just worry about yourself. And as long as you are fulfilled, it really doesn't matter what they think, to be honest with you. Next, do you think you're undervalued at work and or in the sexual marketplace? How and why? So the sexual marketplace is the dating scene, basically, right? In your local, or actually in your international circles. So in manosphere, red pill, whatever you want to call it, in that world there is the SMV, which is your sexual market value. And it's a rating from 1 to 10, like we've always rated people. But now, we take into consideration other things, not just looks, but your status, your health, your money, your confidence. There's just a lot of other factors that go into that. So do you think that you're undervalued when it comes to dating, the dating market? This is more for like the single guys. And of course at work, if you get a lot of your fulfillment from work, be it a business or an employment, do you feel like you're undervalued? And that question is important, because if you do think you're undervalued, you need to show your value. That means that you're not expressing yourself, you're not putting in the work, because value itself is in the eye of the beholder, right? You can provide all the value you want, but if it's not valuable to them, they're not going to compensate you accordingly. Well, I should say, they're not going to compensate you the way that you would like to be compensated. So you need to increase the amount of value in order to not be undervalued. It's a simple equation, really. All right, next, rate yourself on a scale from 1 to 10. That's your SMV. Be honest. And I'm going to go ahead and rate myself. I wrote down here that I was a solid 4, a 1.5 being average. And the reason why I like to go slightly below average is because I'm not where I need to be. I am happy with my physical and, my physique, my physical presence. I have no issues with that, to be honest with you. I'm older. As we men get older, we actually improve our physicality. Our physique improves if you're putting in the work. Our facial structures, our wrinkles, tend to give us a certain masculinity and confidence that young dudes do not have. So, but there are other parts of my SMV that I need to bring up so that the overall rating can improve. So, for example, this year I have a lot of financial goals. I think that's going to help quite a bit and put me into a 5 or a 6. Along with the financial goals, I also have some business goals which will help with status as well. That's a whole different discussion. We can talk about that in another video, specifically about SMV. Next question. Are you truly happy with where you are in life right now? Dating, relationship, finances, physique, and health. Explain why or why not. Be specific. Weight, income, sexual activity, etc. So that's a very loaded question right there. It does require a little bit more time, but I can tell you that right now, like I said, I'm not happy with my finances. I'm not happy with my health, but I am happy with my physique. Even though it's a work in progress, I have goals for when it comes to like muscularity at the gym, but I also have agility and mobility goals as well. So let's move on to the next one. What excuses have you made in the past for not taking control of your future? Think back and be specific. For years, I was blaming my ex for what happened. And it was really weighing me down, to be honest with you, because when you are resentful, what tends to happen is you can't really focus on your future because you're kind of always looking at the past. So especially in relationships, if you have some resentment towards your ex, it kind of comes up in any new relationship with someone else. And that was an issue for about 2 years. I did date some beautiful women, and it didn't work out because I wasn't in the right place, to be honest with you. I really wasn't. Until recently, I was able to take accountability, and I'm in a much better place, That's my fault, and I can fix it. Next question. Do you believe you are capable of more than you've achieved so far? Do you consider yourself an underachiever or an overachiever? I definitely believe that I am capable of achieving more, but I really just haven't been able to focus my attention and efforts on one fulfilling project until now, until time to grow. I've put in a solid 6 to 12 months already, building out the program, building out the workbook, a lot of content. There's a lot behind the scenes that you'll never really see, but yeah, man, I think until now I was kind of dabbling in different things, even in business. I did well 2023, 2024. I did very well in my other businesses. Um, but I wasn't really fulfilled, to be honest with you. I've always seen myself as an underachiever, and I want to change that this year and just completely obliterate my goals and overachieve for sure. Next, what has held you back from taking your life to the next level? This is an important question, and for me, I think it's always been distractions. For a very long time, it was like going out and women, and honestly, those things will always take away self improvement or your finances. And I'm not saying to be celibate and don't date around and don't have fun. I'm just saying you have to know how to balance those things and prioritize. If I could go back um, 20 years, I would absolutely give up some of those years of partying for more stability now that I'm older. I could have invested a lot more, bought some property. I could be in a much different place, to be honest with you. And so, if you're a young dude, you know, consider that. Consider instead of partying away your 20s, maybe just do half, 5 years, or maybe have some balance for those 10 years. So you can improve yourself, improve your situation, have a bright future financially, develop the status. It takes time to create businesses, to create an aura about yourself. It doesn't happen overnight. So don't wait till you're 30 or 35 or 40 for that matter. Start early. There's no need to wait. But just partying all the time is just not conducive to a truly fulfilling life at the end of the day. All right, we got 3 more questions. We might as well go through the whole thing. Are you afraid of failure? If so, why? For a long time, I thought the answer was no. And I think most of us are going to say no. We're not afraid of failure. But the truth is, every time we make a decision that goes against our capacity to improve, that we are sabotaging ourselves from being successful and therefore are okay with failure. And I realized that because I have made decisions in the past which led to subpar performance. And looking back, when you're no longer afraid of failure, you're more willing to take risk, obviously. And I've realized that in life, in business, and self-improvement, you need to take some risk. You cannot be risk averse and at the same time exponentially improve over time. It just doesn't happen. You need to take on a certain amount of risk ever so often. So yes, I was scared of failure. Now I take much larger risk. Just going all in on content is a major risk. I'm a father. I have responsibilities. I have a retirement. I have a reputation. I have a last name to live up to. So I now take larger risk knowing that I must make things happen. All right. 2 more. How often do you take full responsibility for the outcomes in your life, or do you often find excuses for your shortcomings? I think our basic instinct is to have an excuse for everything. But as you get older and you start noticing the benefits of taking full accountability, that's when you stop making excuses. You realize that excuses don't help you in any way, shape, or form. Blaming others gives them the control. That's not what you want. You want to take full accountability so that you have control over yourself, the situation, and possibly even others. At least that's how I feel. I want to be in control of just about everything. I am a control freak. I'm okay with it. And it starts with accountability. It's not a bad thing to be in control. There's always a leader and there are always followers. I personally think of myself as a leader. There are very few situations where I follow. I am okay with following in certain situations. But as you take full accountability for all the wrong things that have happened in your life, that's when you have full control over your own life. All right, last question. I gotta get out of here. Getting very hungry. How much money are you currently making per month before taxes? Yes, money is important. It is a tool that will help you get to the next level. So this is the last question of the self-assessment test for one important reason. You need money. Money is a tool that's going to improve every aspect of your life. It's going to help you with your health, with your dating, with your physique, with your knowledge. It's going to help you in every way, shape, or form. Okay? If you want to improve, yes, there are improvements that are made within, but there are improvements that are made without, externally. So money is very important. Answer this question honestly, do the math, figure out where you stand, because in the next few chapters you will need to create some goals, and I think a financial goal is one of the most important goals, especially as a man. So just to finish the worksheet, let me just read kind of like the end here for you guys. It says, do not rush through these questions. The answers matter. We will revisit them on days 21 through 30 of the program, of the workbook. Take these first 10 days to think deeply about your answers. Talk to family and friends and ask them how they see you and how they would answer these questions about you. You might be surprised by what you hear. Use this time to understand which experiences and decisions led to who you are today and what you could have done differently. Be honest with yourself. It's not too late to course correct if you can clearly lay out where you stand and who you truly are right now. Be honest with yourself. This is the foundation of your transformation, so don't underestimate the power of self-awareness. So that is worksheet number 1. When you do get the workbook, guys, I do send the worksheets in a separate file with no images and no color, so you can easily print them out. So I think it's important to fill them out by hand. And then I also have here the worksheet for day 100, identity and transformation. This is where you establish kind of like the new habits, your new beliefs, your new standards. And that worksheet is what I'm going to use for the rest of the year, because I already filled this out previously and I already went through the 100-day process. So guys, it is January 1st and I want to say thank you. This YouTube journey that I'm on, even though some of the videos get like 4 views, which is insane to me how the algorithm works, or my content just sucks, right? Who knows? But I just wanted to come out here and say thank you.
4.0 miles in 2 hours, 1 minute, 22 seconds.
Are you serious? So I just want to say thank you, guys. I'm here sitting in my truck, very hungry after my first run of the year, and I do plan on going to the gym later. So guys, if there's anything that you said you were going to do on January 1st, make sure you do it. It's the first day of the year. You must meet your expectations, okay? If you said you were going to do something, go ahead and do it. If you said you're going to join the gym, do not let anything stand in your way, okay? Most gyms are open. Get in there, sign up, do what you got to do. This is the most important day of the year. I think the way you show up today is going to dictate the way that you show up for the rest of the year. So make sure that you do as you said you would. All right, guys, so grab the workbook. It is a 100-day program, and what better way to start than on day 1 of the year, okay? The workbook will guide you through a process, and days 1 through 10 are the most important because it is the self-assessment. Without that, you don't know where you stand. And if you don't know where you stand, you don't know where you go. All right, guys, peace. I'm out.